You should be live, mate. Oh, here we go. How we doing, guys? Just trying to get things up and running my end. And it's not even refreshing anymore. Hope everybody's well. Got back into the swing of things. Now we're in 2025. Oh, come on. Got used to not seeing the sun at all. I'm really looking forward to summer. There we go. Are we up? Yes, we are. Evening, Lee. Hope you're well. Wait for Big Boss Man to get back.
Here we go. Here we go. Right, hold on. Hold on. Let's make sure we've got everything. Have we all received our notifications? I bet we haven't.
Nope.
Start as we mean to go on, eh?
Hmm.
Don't tell us when we're live. Evening, Lee. Evening, Heidi. Well, it's on. It's definitely on. So let's go. Right. Are we all ready?
Yes, yes.
It's now time to just sit back in your chair. Let your mind the deepest, darkest. I don't think you really can comment on my shirt, can you, Sandra? I don't think you can. Good evening, guys, and welcome to Journey Through the Unexplained, live and exclusive on Pulse Talk Radio. And we are over live on Facebook and YouTube as well. It is January the 16th, 2025. It's a Thursday evening, and you're going to be with us for the next hour and a half as we take you through the journey through the unexplained. And I'm going to be with my co-comms, co-communicator, my co-pilot, Mr. Paranormal Paul.
Hello, good evening. How are we doing? All good?
All good in the hood. All good in the hood. I just want to say a massive thank you to the lovely Philip Solomon that has taken us through the last hour on Pulse Talk Radio. He had an interview with someone I was just listening to at the end. I just didn't catch the end of it. I don't know quite what was going on, but thank you ever so much to the lovely Philip Solomon for the last hour over on Pulse Talk Radio. Really, you can all comment on my shirt, can't they? They really can. I just want to say thank you for all the lovely comments that come through after the show last week. Personal messages that come through to us as well for the show last week. It was quite a hard show to deal with last week, but your messages after was absolutely fantastic. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that joined us last week and for the lovely messages after the show as well. But as we said last week, the show must go on. And that's what we are doing this week. The show must go on. So I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat at the moment. Who have we got? We've got the lovely Lee in the chat. We've got the lovely Heidi in the chat. We've got the worst, you know, Russ has got his guy faults, and really, how can a Spurs supporter comment on the shirt? How can they actually comment on that after they got turned over last night by us? Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable. And also Mickey is in the chat as well, and he says bad shirt as well, coming from a West Ham fan. Exactly, says it all, really, doesn't it? It says it all. Getting grief from people that are well below us in the league. But that's football chat over with. We have got a show. Let's see Paul. How's your week been?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. A lot better than last week. I'm getting back into the swing of things now, and it's 100 miles an hour.
What, with work or
with
just
work.
with
work.
a bit of everything?
No, with work mainly. I've had a bit of a result. My eldest daughter changed her job, so she's now working a normal 9 till 5. So there's no more driving off to Lakeside at 9:30 every night to pick her up from. Oh, I love it. It's great. We're all at home eating dinner together as it should be. So no, it's all good, mate. It's working out for the right at the moment.
That's what I want. That's what we want to hear, isn't it? You know, we have had we've had a sort of a weird start to 2025. I think it's not just sort of myself and you, but we did have a lovely team meeting, didn't we? A group chat on, was it Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday, and I needed that, mate. I felt so much better as well after.
Yeah, it was lovely to get everyone together and just do things that we like to do. So, but it also made you feel that we wasn't the only ones, if that makes sense. Everyone had seemed to be in that same sort of strange place more than anything.
Yeah, sort of our vibrations wasn't quite where they should be.
But they are coming back into line, aren't they?
They are.
It'll take time, but it will come back into line. It will come back into line. As I say, there's always one person that kissed the badge. It is a good shirt. To be fair, it's the first time in ever that I've got this for Christmas. I got this Arsenal shirt for Christmas, and I've never been able to fit in an Arsenal shirt. Never. They've never been able to, but with the diabetes and the weight I've lost, I've managed to actually fit into an Arsenal shirt. And it's actually, I'd say, it's not something I'd wear outside, if that makes sense. It's just a nice sit in your house, cool shirt. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them shirts. So yeah, I'm a very happy boy. So I've also got the away one as well to wear, so you might even be braced with that one next week. So all depends how we get on the weekend, to be fair. So I won't wear it if we lose.
A true supporter. True supporter, then.
Yeah, true supporter. Yeah. No, we have sort of got some form of show for you tonight, guys. We've got loads of little things to talk about, but I just want to touch on one thing, Paul, that we must answer. We can't do it this week because I don't think we do physically have an answer, but we must look into it. Okay. Do you remember before Christmas, we spoke about the Vatican opening the Lucifer's tomb?
Yes.
We need to do a follow-up on that because my nan is biting my ear off and want to know what actually happened. I'm assuming it went ahead because I didn't hear anything that you say didn't go ahead.
I did send you a couple of clips from it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. It was over just after Christmas, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
And did it happen?
It did, but I haven't seen a great deal on it, to be fair. And I'm not going to lie, I did want to watch it Christmas Eve, but I was kind of otherwise.
I totally forgot, to be fair.
Yeah, I was. The Christmas spirit had taken a hold.
I haven't got anything from you, Paul.
It was a few weeks ago, Russ. I think I put it on the radio show. I didn't put it on your one. Where the Pope was standing, sitting there in his chair as the doors were opened by a man with no ears, no less.
Well, I'll go through the. I haven't got anything, Paul. I swear to you, I haven't got anything.
I shall
That one. A
resend.
series of unfortunate events. I've got the thing there. Drones in Wales. Oh yeah, I haven't got anything. Unless you've sent it over by something totally different. But no, we'll dig into it. Hold on. We have got messages. Vatican is an awesome place to go. I'd love to do a ghost hunt there, and I'd love to saw him open one of them. Jackie Howes saw him open one of them. Did anything go wrong? Have we had any? I haven't seen anything. I think I'm going bald. Look, looks like I'm thinning out on top. Don't look down, Russell. Whatever you do. But no, I haven't seen anything regarding the opening of that. But if I'll have to go back through my phone.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll resend it to you.
So, but we will touch on that in a next week. Okay, I promise you, we will just retouch on it to give us a little bit of something that has gone on. All right. So, but as far as we're aware, yes, they did open it, but what happened is another kettle of fish. Sorry guys, I just want to connect my phone to the desk, so we can, if we need to play a video clip, I can play that video clip. But for some strange reason, it doesn't seem to want to connect. So I'm not going to worry about it just for a minute, because I did want to play that video. Jack says, a bit of a farce, really, the one I saw. So do you think it was a publicity thing then, Jackie? Is that sort of going down that sort of line? Must have been, really. But then again, I don't really know what I was expecting.
No, I don't. And like you say, why now? Is it never been done before, apparently? I mean, obviously, they've opened different bits and pieces, but... And I don't think it was Lucifer's tomb, the one I saw him open it, because there was several, wasn't there? They were opening, if I remember rightly. And I think,
yeah, I remember them was doing a couple, but in stages, wasn't it? Because I think Mickey said, if I remember, was it Mickey said that they had to do it in a certain order? Was it an order of something that was happening? Right, so we're connected. So just in case we do want to play anything, we can. All right. I put it on silent just in case anyone rings me, like they normally do. Right, but we will touch on that next week. Okay, guys, that's something that we will do. The first bit of the show, we'll touch on that. Right. Lee, join us next week. All right, we'll go through this whole show next week because we can answer the questions as we go as well. But they was opening the tomb of Lucifer on short but sweet. Opening the tomb of Lucifer on Christmas Eve. The Vatican was breaking the seal of Lucifer's tomb. They're breaking the walls down. Exactly. Didn't know what to accept. There were people the other side. So, yeah, we'll touch on it next week. All right, we'll give it a good dig into next week because we have got a couple of things that we need to talk about. So let's go straight off the bat. Tonight, I do believe that we can see. What can we see? Let's have a look what we can see. We can see Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Okay, it's the first time in 25 years. If you look out your window tonight, we've got quite a clear night down in the south. For say a change, it's absolutely beautiful out there at the moment. cold but beautiful, and you can see all them planets in the sky: Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only two. Is 3 more, isn't there? 9 planets. Am I right? Is it 9?
Oh, Earth, Mercury, and Pluto. But then Pluto was demoted, wasn't it?
Was it? They demoted it.
So it was a dwarf planet, wasn't it? In the end, I think.
Oh, how can you demote a planet?
Wow.
Oh, by the way, you're not a planet no more. Go away.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pluto. You know, I do believe we can see them now. I do believe they are all in the sky as
Keep
of
me
now.
to break out my telescope, you know.
Well, there was one point last week, wasn't there, that you could see the rings of Saturn if you had a strong enough
Yeah.
telescope. So, well, that defies me as well. That confuses me as well. But we won't go on to that one just yet, because I think we've got other things to talk about that we definitely need to talk about. We're going to talk about this fog, okay? The conspiracy, or the whatever you want to call it, about this fog. It could just be fog, but there is a lot of interest around the world that the fog that we had sort of around Christmas time, before Christmas, middle of Christmas, and just after, it wasn't just fog. According to some sources, okay, people are blaming the fog for this illness that is going around and catching people left, right, and centre. Paul, I think you was collared it, didn't you? You went down with it.
I did, yes. Before Christmas, I don't remember the fog side of things though. I mean, we had a bit of fog this morning, if I remember rightly, or was that yesterday morning?
There was no fog where I was. I never went through any fog this week.
See, now I did. And it was only first thing in the morning and I'm away to work. And it was quite thick when I got to work.
No.
But it doesn't look like the fog that everyone's commenting on and the videos that I've seen, you know. It looks like fine snow, doesn't it, coming out of the fog, but nothing setting or. But it's what it leaves behind as well, isn't it? That sort of dirt, like a dust covering on vehicles and things like that as well.
There's been a lot, hasn't there? That I'm just going to see if we can.
People are saying that there's a chemical smell to it as well.
I must admit, I haven't smelt the chemical smell.
I think that's more in the States rather than over here. But then I think they just get battered with things over in the States. I think there's some definite experimentation going on out there.
Oh, massively. Absolutely massively with this fog. And I say, I've never known quite a lot of illness around this sort of time. And it has not, you know, Leah said it's probably this HPV-1 virus that is going around. But once again, I would love to go. I'd love to be able to, you know, I'd love to be able to time travel. I'd love to be able to DeLorean. There's Joe. Evening, Joe. Welcome to the chat, my friend. The fog is reported having a smell of burnt fireworks.
So like sulphury type smell, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, and you know, it's just how I'm assuming it's going to be the same sort of way that they cloud seed and things like that. It's coming from above. Sulfur dioxide. you know, so there's a lot of people that are becoming. I know Joe's been sort of, he's had sort of a cold and all that, and the flu sort of symptoms of it. I know a lot of people where I work. So your work it went right around your work, didn't it?
Battered. I've never known it to knock out so many people. Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. I'd love to sort of be able to time travel, and that's where I'd go back to around the start again of the COVID outbreak, and to see if there was fog.
Yeah.
Just to see if it, you know, if we can link this new strain of whatever's out there to now, because obviously you're never going to remember if there was fog around back in 2000, sort of 19, wasn't it? 19 and early 20.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was 5 years ago when you look at that.
I know.
5 years ago. That's just crazy. It feels like yesterday. It really feels like yesterday that we was all in lockdown.
Yeah.
So people have reported feeling very ill after being exposed to fog across the US, UK, and Australia. Careful of time travel. Don't want the butterfly effect. Well, I'm just going to go off kilter, but one of my Christmas presents was the DeLorean Lego, and I've just finished it. So that was the DeLorean. Oh, its wheels just fell off on me. It's got its skateboard and its whatever you call it in there, iridium. But I went with the original one. It gives you the options of going for original, 2 or 3. So I went with the original. I'll put its wheel back on in a minute. But yeah, that was my over the last couple of days. Paul, you've gone on to mute.
Yeah, I just had something come up then saying it looks like your mic's been unplugged. No, it hasn't.
You're having strange things happen all the time. You know, I'm quite surprised that we're in a we're actually live, to be fair. There was wildfires in Australia, then COVID broke out. Now we have wildfires in the US, which people believe may be linked to the P. Diddy case. And now we have the HPV one. We all know repeats itself. Posh Lego kit now. Thank you all for your lovely comments. Thank you. Can you mute that shirt? See, look, the jealousy in the shirt is more of the issue tonight, isn't it? That's what it is. Yeah, I say I can't. I do remember the wildfires vaguely, but yeah, I can't remember what was going on around that time. Otherwise, so it would be interesting, very interesting.
But you know, that just got me thinking as well. Do you remember was it New York when Canada had them wildfires and the skies were like a fiery yellow red,
Yes.
and it had that big fog covering it, and they said, oh yeah, it's from the fires from Canada. But when people were looking into it, you know, the surrounding areas wasn't like it. Even the areas it had to pass to get to New York, and something didn't add up with that. But now I'm trying to think, was there illness after that? Because what a great way of disguising it. You've got wildfires all of a sudden, and then this mist and fog coming in everywhere.
But then that would be, you know, it would make sense. It would make sense how this, you know, if this is how, not to say this is how they're doing it, because we generally don't know. We're only sort of surmising what could possibly going on here. That if let's say if we could time travel and link these stories together and actually be conclusive in my head, then we know how this is started. We know how COVID was started. If it was along them lines of the fog, now we've obviously got people getting ill via another fog that's coming in. I know there's been a massive, which we never get in this country, but this morning there was a weather warning for fog through certain parts of Wales and the Midlands up to Manchester this morning. Thick fog. You know, we all, not to say that this is the only thing that, this fog is, what would you call it? It's not the only. I'm not sitting here saying the fog causes just this illnesses that are going around at the moment. I think there's more to this fog than is actually going on. There is definitely something, because the fog was around for days here, wasn't it? It never wasn't just an odd day. It was days, and it lasted all day at some points, didn't it?
But that was the other thing people were commenting on. When you get the fog, driving in it, walking in it, there's moisture in the air. You're getting wet. You got to keep your wipers on. But it wasn't like that.
No,
you weren't getting wet. You wasn't getting damp when you was out in it. So how's that? I mean, because let's be honest, fog really is basically a low flying cloud.
Yes.
So you should have moisture in the air, and I think it's the same in America and places that are experiencing it. Where's the moisture with it? Why ain't we getting wet and damp?
But it was also seeing, wasn't we? It was also seeing the effects of, as you said at the beginning, like the flakes and the speckles of something in it. Like it looked like snow. And, one of our team members, Tina, even commented on that, didn't she? And said there was like a speckle of something in it, which you are sort of used to, because you do get that, especially when you take pictures with fog that comes in, you can see that, as you say, the moisture particles in it. Not to say you couldn't see it without your naked eye, but the one recently was very much encased with some particle of some form in it, which is interesting.
Well, what was it? I can't remember the bleeding name of it. The carbon. What's that really fine black stuff that they can use and manipulate? Used for like nanotechnology. Oh my God, it's gone right out my head.
Can't help you on that one. It'll come to you in a minute.
Yeah.
So it looks like it was extreme weather before COVID. Storms, snow, and one of the hottest Februaries in years. Can't see fog though. Russ, going off subject a little bit, did you say you saw some UFOs during the height of these UAP drone periods? Yes. I'll go on to that, because that is part of our talk later on. Okay, so we will head back to that, Joe. All right.
Graphene oxide. Cheers, Joe.
So I can actually, I think, hopefully, we might be able to play a video on that. Let's see if it works. All right, guys. Let's see if it works.
My understanding is that one of the materials detected in the fog being seen around the world is graphene, and graphene is one of the primary materials used in the creation of holographic images. Feel free to check out the link in the comment section. This has led some to conclude that the graphene-saturated fog is preparation for Project Bluebeam, which will be used to project holograms of motherships over major cities in order to stage an alien invasion.
So that is what you were sort of going down there, wasn't it?
Well, it can be used for many things. They reckon it was in the vaccines and things like that. And that's why all these 5G towers were going up all over the place, because it reacts to signals You can program it. It is nanotechnology. It's the smart one. Well, it is the smartest thing we've got at the moment, and it's undetectable to a certain degree. You know, you could fit it in a syringe and put it in someone without them knowing. You can't see it. It's that small, microscopic. Yet it can be programmed and controlled. You can literally, they've done tests on it. You could, if you've got a blood clot, you can literally see it, go to the blood clot, collect it, and move it. That's how smart this stuff is.
So it is nanotechnology then, isn't it? It is like what you see in sort of these Marvel films, I'm assuming, and you know, was it that sort of thing? And Joe said Paul had a video at work that looked, remember the metal?
Yeah. That was metallic, magnetic, wasn't it? And you could clearly see that though. That was like sparkling.
Was that in a fog period or was that rain?
No,
or
it was sunny. It was a clear, sunny day, and that's why we managed to see it just by standing there, because the sun. It was like chrome flakes, if you like, because as soon as the sun hit it, it was glinting, and that's what caught our eye. I was like, "What is that?" It was bizarre.
But you know, once again, it could be though. But it could be a test, though, couldn't it? It could have been a experiment of, you know, trying a different type of graphene. You know, it might have been a different sort of technology, so to speak. It may have been a different form of graphene. You know, if we are sort of looking down Project Bluebeam, they've got to make sure all the technology is in place for that, and make sure it's absolutely on point with that. And I do feel like the fog at the moment that is around these, you know, even to the point of these wildfires over in the States, things like that, it is causing a smoke shield for something. That is where my head goes with it. It's not to say it's all leading to Project Bluebeam. I know that we're expecting something this year, and I think, you know, we also we're on that right time of, I know that the treaty or whatever you want to call it of Project Bluebeam is around the next 2 years, so which they wanted to release this, so we're right on the curb of that. So how it works and how it goes, I don't generally know. But with what is going on with all these smoke and mirrors at the moment, with, you know, when we went through that whole weeks, how many days, I couldn't tell you how many days that we went through. Remember, we went through them days of where we just had no sun. It was just cloud cover for days and days and days, that grey, dingy, atmospheric days of whatever you want to call it before Christmas. Now
that was in November, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was hiding something in the sky. 100% that was hiding something that we couldn't see. What that is, I don't know. And how that works, I don't know. But that's what I think, and is what's happening. I don't think it's related to the hologram. I think it's a 5G receptor. What the graphene is it? That's what I'm assuming Joe's talking about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like I mean, I remember that going around a lot when people would talk with the start of COVID, because everything was shut down, and then all of a sudden, all these 5G towers. I mean, I don't know about you, but my phone reception is worse now than it's ever been.
Yeah, 5G is crap.
So I don't get 5G, and yet there's towers everywhere.
And so the graphene, the graphene is in there for 5G. It's fucking useless.
Yeah. This is it. They're telling us it's for our mobile phones to get better signal, and yet it's got worse. So that's clearly a lie. And when you look at the businesses that actually put these 5G towers in, they're non-existent anymore. So if you get any problems with them, I mean, 5G is a military weapon, isn't it? It's direct energy weapon. You can't actually sue anyone because the companies don't exist, the ones that put them in. So who's liable for them? Who's looking after them?
Well, this what is
And
it?
this is why they were saying with the graphene oxide in the vaccines and things like that, you know, because you can flick a switch and everybody gets ill.
And you know that's what. To be fair, that's what I was. That was one of my when the COVID situation was about and the vaccination was being heavily forced upon people. It never felt that was the goal, because if they wanted to mass vaccinate people and there was something wrong with that vaccination, they would have just done what they did. They could just put it in anything they choose to put it in and done everybody, i.e. put it in your water, put it in the air and let it breathe in. So that was always for me, once again, the vaccination was nothing to do with COVID. It was a smoke and mirrors, you know, what they call it, sort of a total curveball to what was actually going on. We know the vaccination has caused more problems than actual COVID itself at this moment in time.
Yeah,
so
and I think that was also a trial as well to see how many people would follow what they're being asked to do. I mean, I don't know if you see the Joe Rogan interview with Zuckerberg.
No, I haven't.
What? I've only watched about 20 minutes of it so far, and my God, he's released everything. You know, saying how mainly America, you know, anything to do with the vaccines that were side effects or this and that or other treatments, you have to get rid of it. You have to quash it straight away. He was told aggressively to do that. Anything that went against the narrative, get rid of it. True or not.
But that was quite, you know, that was quite evident. Do you know what I mean? And I do think that Facebook will take a pounding if it doesn't come in line with what people want to hear. And I think he has to, you know, he has to release he has to match it.
Yeah.
He has to give freedom of speech or potential freedom of speech. But as I've always said, if you're on Facebook, it's not a freedom of speech platform. It's a program. Do you know what I mean? If you sign up for their terms and conditions, you know, you have to follow their rules. It's not rules. I don't mean it as rules, but I can see why they did it and how they got away with it. It wasn't a free speech platform. No. But what is? Everything is doctored and everything is, you know, controlled, in so to speak. Joe has put in a comment. A recent video I saw on YouTube showed a guy taking snow from the ground during the fog-ridden snowy evening, and he melted it and put it under a microscope, and there was weird bacteria organisms in view. So he was alleged to say it was a virus or pathogen.
But then I've seen someone grab a load of snow, make it into a snowball and put it in their log fire, and it doesn't burn, doesn't melt. It just sits there. And I remember this a couple of years back with the snow. People were doing it. Putting it on their barbecue on a frying pan, grabbing the snow and putting it in there, and it just wouldn't melt. And they're like, this ain't snow.
Yeah, but then you look at what's the place where they build their homes out of snow.
Yeah, well,
igloos, yeah. But they have like fires in them, and the snow don't melt. And I've always found that really bizarre. They cook in it, and I find that even bizarrer. It's like, well, it's snow; it should melt. So, you know, it's just weird. It's just weird. And but then again, if it's a controlled weather system, if snow is a man-made whatever it is, a man-made thing, and it's not a natural occurrence, snow isn't a natural thing, then it has to be made of something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can see why it doesn't burn if it's made of some form. To be fair, I've never tried to burn snow, to be fair.
Yeah, but again, you know, most of these videos I'm seeing are all from America. I haven't really seen, not to my knowledge, anything over here to do with that kind of thing. But again, you know, you can't believe everything you see, but
yeah, I think it has to fit with how you see things, you know. Zuckerberg is jumping ship.
well, no, he's towing the line.
Yeah, Zuckerberg has also had his own nuclear bunker. Don't think he's in it for the people. Of course, he ain't in it for the people. He is a liar. He knew what was doing. Trudy had resigned. Trudeau has resigned. They all sniff a big shake-up, and they are pooping their pants.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah, it's ironic timing with Facebook, isn't it? The way he's talked about we're going to be a free speech platform now, you know, and this and that. Now Trump's about to take office. What with his competitor, Mr. Musk, on X.
I really don't. The only reason I use Facebook is for this platform, really. I don't use it for anything else apart from my business and this. I think the biggest problem we are now facing is AI and deep faking images and videos. It is harder now to fact check these types of videos. As far as I'm aware, as far as I can see, it's a part of that.
Yeah.
It is a part of that. They need debate. You know, they need people to argue the facts now. And that's how they get this instability. I don't think that's ever going to go away. There's always going to be two sides fighting against whatever. Do you know what? Nothing changes in my eyes. You know, I know people are, you know, happy that Trump's getting in and everything like that. To me, it makes no difference. Yeah, I like to see the bloke on telly. He makes me laugh. That's as simple as it gets. It's just like watching your, you know, granddad go on telly because he just hasn't got no filter over his mouth. Do you know what I mean? That's, you know, that's what I like about him. He tells it, but he's only there because the powers that be put him there, in my head. You know, he wasn't voted in by the people. He was voted in by the people who wanted to put him in there. Something's going on here because my phone ain't charging. It's going flat and it's plugged in, even though it's got the charge sign on it. But yeah, I do feel there is something in the waters. I definitely do think there's something in the waters that are coming. What that is, I don't quite know. I do think that obviously what's happening around, especially in America at the moment, once again, I started to see the first videos of blue things not burning again, Paul, in LA.
I've seen where the houses have burned to the ground, but all the trees and even bushes outside are still intact. And I see one reporter on an American news channel saying, how's this happened? It's literally just like a concrete archway where the front door used to be. There's just ash behind her. But it's still got plastic Christmas ornaments unburnt by the front door. And you're like, well, how does that happen? And she even said it. They've even got candy canes on the grass, plastic candy canes sticking out the grass. She said, you know, you're talking like 1,000 degrees centigrade or whatever, or more than that to melt and burn what it's done. And yet the cheap plastic Christmas ornaments are still intact.
Well, I think it's quite good to play that video that you sent me, because I've played it to a lot of people because I quite like the video and the sayings in it. So I'm going to play it, okay?
I don't remember what one.
Wouldn't it be crazy that the same organizations that told you the Earth is a spinning ball uses the flat Earth map as their logo. Wouldn't it be crazy that on the day of the devastating fire in Maui, no alarms were sounded to warn the people? Wouldn't it be crazy that on the day of the devastating fire, local firefighters reported that nearly all of the fire hydrants had no water in them? Wouldn't it be crazy if local police officers directed people down to Front Street only to leave them stranded and trapped amongst the blaze? Wouldn't it be crazy if the fire was so hot that it melted metal? And wouldn't it be crazy if the average forest fire temperature is not hot enough to do that? Wouldn't it be crazy if blue cars and blue homes were unaffected by the fire for some reason? Wouldn't it be crazy if the mayor of Maui declined to answer questions about the 2,000 children who were allegedly missing after the fire? Wouldn't it be crazy if they put a massive wall around the city after the fire so that no one could see what's going on with the rebuilding process? Wouldn't it be crazy if the chief of police of Maui was the same man who was in charge of the investigation of the Las Vegas shooting in 2017? Wouldn't it be crazy if a Build Back Better conference had been hosted in Maui just a few months prior to the massive fire? And isn't it crazy that to this day the media has not really looked into any of these things or taken any of them seriously? Yeah, that would be crazy. And remember, this is only for entertainment purposes. Wouldn't it be crazy that the same...
I absolutely love that video. I absolutely.
And that was you know, the reason I sent it is because the resemblance. I mean, obviously that was made for the Maui fires. There's 3 times this has happened now, and all 3 places were meant to be smart cities: Chile, Maui, and LA. So we're going to see what happens to all 3 of them places in the not so distant future.
Yeah, I say I just think it's absolutely spot on, because it is such an absolute it's like you just said, it's burnt down houses, it's burnt cars to absolute burning metal, to puddles in the ground. And as it says, there's no way forest fires can get that hot. With, you know, and over the last few days I have been seeing videos of these blue cars again that are just untouched, you know, in rows and rows of burnt, buggered cars, and the blue ones are untouched. You know, houses with certain colours on them, untouched. Buildings that are blue, untouched. Now, that either symbolises to me that 2 ways to look at it, that this so-called weapon can't burn blue, or it is literally a sign of not to touch that house or that person's car, or that it's, you know, you know, a hidden thing that's not to be touched. So if you don't want your house touched and you're in the know, have it blue, or buy a blue car and we won't touch it. Or something along them lines, potentially. But supporters of fine Chelsea also exactly. Just wear blue and buy a blue car. I have suggested paint your house blue, get a blue car, wear a Chelsea shirt. You know, if you don't want your car burnt or your house burnt, absolutely. And that sounds like Paul's drinking from a blue mug. So if his house does burn, the mug would still stand. Yeah, I don't quite know, Sandra. This is what I'm saying. I'm a little bit undecided of what this so-called, and I'm saying I'm doing inverted commas because there has been video footage, once again, the same as the Maui ones, of the laser beam directing from the sky from something.
Yeah.
Now, where it comes from, who knows? Who knows? You know, but for me, we're looking at certain words as in blue, Project Blue Beam. Once again, blue beam. What's coming down from the sky? Blue beam. So I'm just, my head will always go to this ramping up of Project Blue Beam, where
maybe that is what Project Blue Beam is, mate.
yeah, maybe it isn't nothing to do with an actual extraterrestrial, but it's just to obliterate certain things for smart cities.
Yeah.
Cloak and dagger stuff, isn't it? Again, you know, put out what we think it's going to be. Everyone be looking at Project Bluebeam, and actually, it's exactly what it says in this.
Yeah. Didn't think of it like that.
Hide it in plain sight. Once again, hide it in plain sight. But yeah, I just think it's crazy with what's going on in LA. That is crazy. That's probably worse than Maui, because as we said last week, that hit some well-known celebrities. Yeah, their pockets ain't going to be dented. We know that. But it almost feels like we need to balance the apple cart here a little bit. We've knocked out these cities of sort of that aren't maybe as high powered.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was worse than Maui, because there was quite a few people killed with the Maui fires. And I remember seeing a video at one point with the sea was on fire. People were going in the water to not burn, and there was like puddles of fire in the water. But I don't think there's been that many fatalities in the LA as there was in Maui. I could be wrong. I mean, it's never good, whatever way you look at it.
No, but when I say this is more hard hitting, it's more hard hitting because of people know the area.
Right, yeah.
Know what is in LA, what LA is famous for. You know, this sort of goes against the grain of everything. We look at all these celebrities that have homes there that have been destroyed. Beyonce's home's been destroyed. Tom Hanks' homes has been destroyed. All these people that are associated with deep state, associated with the organisation of Biden's stuff like that, you know, all sit on that.
Yeah, there was a comment earlier. Sorry, Russ, go on.
Go on, sorry.
There was a comment earlier about the P. Diddy, wasn't there? And about what he and a lot of other celebs are accused of doing. And a lot of the people's houses that have been destroyed were on them lists. I'm not saying all of them, obviously, but yeah. And that was the conspiracy, wasn't it? Because an investigation was just about to start into taking that house apart. And in 2 days after it started, apparently, and obviously now they're going to find nothing because it's burnt to a crisp.
But then they have taken a chance on that. They've taken a chance on that because
you're going to get.
Can't guarantee that a whole house could potentially burn to the ground.
Not from a normal fire, no.
That's what I'm saying. They're taking a whole chance.
There's nothing left of these. But this is the other thing. A lot of these celebrities and that, mate, they've got marble and things like that running through their house. Now, that don't burn.
This is what I'm saying. They're taking a chance, though. I get what you're saying because I can follow that. I can quite easily see what they're doing. Quite easily see it. But I still think they've taken a big chance in what they have done. Because it only takes one computer to do accidentally a laptop to be left on the side accidentally, not get caught in the fire. Someone could pick it up and leave it on a chair. You know what I mean?
I think it was more physical evidence, like, you know, sort of DNA evidence.
But I can see that conspiracy. I can absolutely. It makes sense. Did you see the video of Biden holding a press conference with Newsom and the mayor? And all Biden says, well, it's great news. I'm a grandfather. Doesn't sound like Mr. Biden, does it? So instead of showing his horror at the LA fires, he just mentioned he's a grandfather being born. He's weird. We just know that. I'm going to miss him slightly, though. I am going to miss him. I can't help it because his cock-ups are just brilliant.
Yeah, he's been very quiet, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm going to miss him getting on a plane and just walking past the helicopter.
Yeah, or trying to ride a bike.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that. That's quite sad in a way. Mel Gibson lost his home. Yeah,
see, that's a good guy.
Yeah.
So is he? Again, it's not.
But he's not always been a good guy, though, is he?
No, but
the media made him out to be a horror guy.
He's not in the way that these other celebrities are being accused of. I mean, he's the one fighting back against them.
Yes,
massively. I mean, again, I watched the Joe Rogan with him on it. If you haven't seen that, my God, well worth a watch. I think the guy's fantastic, and he's done a hell of a lot for children, that are suffering. And I think that man's got a great heart, and I love the stuff he's done. And he admits it. He had a drink and drug problem and things like that, and he's got the inner demons that most of us have as well. But he
was outed, wasn't he? He was outed. He got slandered for what his beliefs were. Do you know what I mean? Because it didn't fit with the narrative at the time, and now it fits with the narrative of the times. They will use him as a good guy now, won't they? They will use him as the face of it.
Mm-hmm.
He will now become the face of. He's already sort of coming up from the ashes. Do you know what I mean? You are seeing him on more and more things now. You're seeing him being sort of coming back into the movie scene. We're hearing rumours of Lethal Weapon 5 with him in that he wants to produce and direct. Now, that wasn't heard of 2-3 years ago because of how he is against, as like Joe just said, sorry, he's not a good guy in the eyes of the globalists.
Nah.
So now he is now becoming a good guy, and they will use him as the head, to do what they want to do.
Well, I didn't realise that the couple of these. Yeah, it was a great watch, mate. I'm glad you watched it, actually, Mickey. We'll have to get Mickey on the show, because I'd love to have a discussion with him about what Mel said. I didn't realise the trouble we had getting the film out, the Apocalypto and the Passion of Christ. No one wanted to touch them. No one wanted to touch them, and yet they were pretty much the best sellers when they were released. He was nice one, yeah. I haven't seen all the Zuckerberg one yet.
Yeah, but he's going to be on it.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan's like that, and he openly says that. He wanted Kamala Harris on after Trump. I want them both on. I want to hear both sides of the story, and this is what I love about Joe Rogan. Just because everyone hates someone, let's get him on then. Let's see what they've got to say.
Yeah,
and I love that about him. I think more power to you, mate, and I think that's why he's done so well.
They're all just puppets. These are just puppeteers on strings. Zuckerberg's a puppet. He can be a good guy or be a bad guy. They've got to make Facebook work because it's a platform to get the information. If it's misguided or not, they've got to change Facebook around because it's losing. I'm sorry if you take us off air. Zuckerberg, take me off air for slandering your thing, but you are losing millions of people because of the platform else out there.
Well, I can't remember how many people we said it was either a day or a week, but it was 3.8 billion people use Facebook.
But it's only the older generation. It's only our age that use that Facebook.
It's a third of the planet, Russ. You know what I mean?
If you look at probably the age, the age algorithm of Facebook compared to probably the algorithm of someone like TikTok, Snapchat.
Oh yeah,
you're going to have a massive differential of Facebook is going to be a higher level of age, around our sort of age, sort of 30, 35 plus, to rather something like TikTok and Snapchat, which is probably around sort of the 19 to 25 range. They've got to make sure that Facebook comes down to that level to get this information out there, because they need to spread their information. That's how I see it. He has to come on board. He is a part of, I say, the next 4 years of the globe is going to be different, because we have, you know, the leader of a free world is an outspoken kind of guy that don't take any shit. So everything that was covered up will be exposed, but they have to do it in a way that they're going to be able to keep everybody on side. You know, we know it's going to be a big year in ufology. So Facebook has got to come on side with that, because they know they get away with it on TikTok and things like that. I've never seen so many adverts or groups of recently keep being suggested by me for ufology, ufology, ufology. It's consistent.
Yeah.
It's absolutely consistent at the moment, but because it doesn't run on an algorithm that is interested to you, it only runs on sponsored advertisement. So it takes Google information, it takes DuckDuckGo information, it takes Bing information and puts it onto the Facebook algorithm. So it uses your search history rather than what you are searching, i.e. like TikTok picks up on the algorithm of what you are looking at, rather than the sponsored advertisement that you are looking at through your phone. That's where there's this whole difference.
It's so obvious as well, isn't it? You've only got to look at one thing. I need a new pillow for my bed, right? You know, you look at it once. Next thing you know, the next 2 weeks you're bombarded with pillars for sale.
That's
it's
it.
ridiculous.
Exactly it. It doesn't pick up the algorithm that you are interested in. But I have noticed over the last couple of weeks that that algorithm is massively changing, because I've never been, sorry, I got an itchy back and I got my back scratched out. I do apologise. Good job. This is a radio show, isn't it? But that's where I'm saying. So they've got to make someone like Zuckerberg put into the public domain, and they've got to make people like Zuckerberg in the younger generation more
Human.
wanting, more human.
Have you seen the way he looks now compared to the way he used to look?
No, I haven't seen him.
He actually looks human. Whereas before he looked like a cyborg as such, didn't he? You know, he was very greasy, sort of flat face, and he looked very robotic.
To be fair, I only remember. See, my head always goes to the gentleman in the film. Do you ever watch the film Social Media? Or Networking? Was it called Networking or Network?
Yeah, social networking, wasn't it?
I can only get that guy in my head at the moment, but that's a really good film. That's a really good film about how it all started and how it all worked out.
And how he robbed everyone then.
Yeah. So going along them sort of lines, now I think you're going to find that Facebook will really open up its narrative over the next year, because if it doesn't, it's gone. And as you said, that's what billions of people that the deep state can't get to.
Yeah.
And that's not what they want. That's not what they want. And if they know if Project Bluebeam is coming into play, if and when, they obviously going to need Facebook to start people on this UFO hunt, this looking in the skies, this everything that is going on with UFO, this so-called 2025 awakening of some form. Then they need that. They need that. So they've got to open up their things. I can definitely see that. And that's why they're putting him on someone like Joe Rogan. who in like 24 hours prior to the election endorsed Donald Trump. Last possible moment, but Passion of Christ is a life-changing film. Never seen it. Can't say it's a I can't say I've seen it. So
it's powerful, mate.
it's a puppet. Mickey said to Joe Downs, powerful. YouTube picks up its algorithms. I'm assuming.
Yeah, because they're sort of one in the same now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because that's very suppressed now, YouTube, isn't it?
The deep state are trying to ban TikTok because its massive impact on the sheep is actually waking the sheep up. It'll never be banned. Publicity stunt. Absolutely publicity stunt. They're never going to ban it. Never going to ban it. Never be banned. It should have been banned a year ago in America, but it never got banned.
Did you ever see that guy that run the tests? Because they were saying, "Oh, China spying on us. China's this. China's that. China's this." So they created an account or a couple of accounts, and they posted a load of bad things about China. China this, China that, China this. Not one of them got taken down. They start doing the same with America. A couple of bits, America's this, America's that. Bosh, get taken down, taken down, taken down. Said, so as China, why would China suppress bad things said about America? But you can say what the hell you want about China, and it's just left there. It's not China. It's each country's individual censorship programs. Just because you're using maybe a Chinese app, you're telling me that the country you're in can't suppress that. Of course they can.
I think it's banned in China. It's actually made by Chinese, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a Chinese. I'm sure it's a Chinese thing. It's probably banned in one of the Koreans, North Korea.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's banned in China. I mean, I'll get quite a lot of stuff coming out of China. I mean, they wouldn't be able to post it if it was banned, would they?
I won't read it out. But no, I get it. I get it. I see what is actually sort of happening. I just think it's all they're all for the reasons of what they need it to happen. I'm along that sort of thing. Right. So where we've touched on that. Let's quickly touch on. Obviously, we had the Bezos rocket launch today. The biggest, what I would say, fast I've ever watched in my life. As soon as it sort of got out of sight of a camera, it went over to a simulated computer of a line across a screen with a little dot to tell you what was happening. I just didn't get it. It told you it broke orbit. That was the end of it. Just crazy.
This is the other thing that gets me in, right? You're getting all these images coming out that are apparently actual photographs, close up of our solar system, galaxies, not just the James Webb Telescope, some of the great lenses and that we've got now. You're telling me you can't put one of them on this planet to follow an actual rocket going into space? I don't buy it.
Well, it doesn't matter what rocket has gone up in the last, 10, 15 years. You've always shown you a picture of looking back at Earth.
Yeah.
Or they show you a picture of the two booster pad, whatever it is, the tanks falling off, don't they? Always.
Just so you get a quarter of the Earth with the curvature. So you've always got to have the curvature there, haven't you?
Yeah. That's it. But you never got that. You saw it go up, and that was it. They even showed you the pictures of there was a camera on it and it showed you the engines. So you couldn't see it down because it was pitch black. There was something really, really dodgy about it. There was something really dodgy about that. I just didn't think it was real. why, you know, unless it went bang and they didn't want to say anything. It was also, Joe even made a comment. It was all cheering, do you know? Oh, it was, yeah. I just don't get it. What did you cheer? You know, this is nothing that hasn't been done for the last 40 years. Sending rockets up and just sending them into space. So
what was the idea of the mission anyway? Where was it going?
Well, this is going to be a rocket that can be used a maximum of 25 times to go up and down to the moon, or up to orbit and back down again.
Oh, I was going to say orbit or the moon.
Orbit.
Because orbit, yeah.
I'm assuming lower orbit or whatever.
Yeah. So you get a bit of zero gravity nonsense going on, and
and it will come back and land again. But it's going to be used 25 times, and they'd have to use a new one.
Oh, right.
But we didn't see it land.
What happens after the 25 times? Do we know?
Goes into a museum like all the others, doesn't it? Go and sit on it. You go into whatever it is, the NASA museum in Florida. You know, so
it just don't make sense, none of it, does it?
It doesn't. Joe's on his flat earth again. That's for you flat earthers. He thinks we're flat earthers. I don't know. I can't. There's too much evidence to say it's not, and there's evidence to say that it is. All right. I just don't know how it works. I know he's a massive flat earther.
Yeah, I'm going to send you a video, Joe. It's about, you know, the education system and how people are indoctrinated into believing what they believe. And when someone comes, even if someone come up with proof, there's no way on earth they will change their way of thinking, because they've always been told that's what's true.
Yeah. It's how your brain works with this.
Exactly. I've always been told that's how it's true.
Yeah.
When you start looking into it, I'm not saying I believe it, but when you start looking into it, you start realizing something don't quite add up with all this. Like in that video you just played out, Russ, it was the first thing it says. The people that tell you we live on a globe use a flat earth map as their symbol.
It's in plain sight. But that's said, how many times have I said I watch one video, then I go, 100% on flat earth. Then I watch another video and think, no, we can't live on a flat earth, because that can't be right and that can't be right. You know, it's one of them ones that I will 100% sit on the fence with. I'm not afraid to admit it, because I see one thing that tells me and one thing it doesn't tell me. I just can't get my mind. But, you know, to me, it makes no difference if it's flat or not. We're on it.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it gets. This
is one of the arguments, isn't it? Why are people like, they don't just discuss it, they will fight with each other over it. Like you said, well, what difference does it make? I must admit, that's why I'll put that little meme in earlier with when you started talking about the rocket, because I know it gets his goat up.
They had to use a Fiat symbol, Paul. Fiat. Fix it again tomorrow. BBC have copyright on the spinning globe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Mickey is a flat earther here through and through. And that's right. We should get Mickey on the show. We definitely need to get Mickey on the show. I know Joe wants to come on the show when he's feeling a little bit better, and he's come. I know we're going to get Heidi on the show in the coming weeks, and let's get Mickey on there as well. That's 3 people we can get on this show and have a chit chat with. So definitely. Let's make that work. Right, we've got 15 minutes left of the show, guys, and this is what I want to sort of finish off on, because I did say to Joe at the end, what is going to happen in 2025? Paul, predictions for 2025 of the conspiracy side of things, the truth seeker side of things that you like to call yourself.
Blimey. I
That
wish you
goes
would
for
give me a
everybody in
bit of
the chat
notice
as
on that
well.
one, mate.
Oh,
Sorry?
you can't. You can't give your notice on that one.
My predictions of what conspiracies.
What's going to happen? Because I know we know we've been speaking to Joe. He's a strong believer that we're going to see some form of craft this year. So
Yeah,
predictions, what are you thinking? Also in the chat, guys, what are you thinking? I know we've got Lee in the chat, we've got Mickey in the chat, we've got Heidi in the chat, Joe in the chat. What's your predictions? What is big is going to happen this year?
I think we brushed on that before Christmas, didn't we? What we think and I think that was one of mine. I think I've nearly every show I think I've mentioned Project Bluebeam, and I think we're going to either see a lead up to the finale or a massive build up to it of some sort. I think that was one of my main ones, especially with all the drones and different bits and pieces that are going on with the technologies and that we got coming out. But also on, I think with Trump coming in, I think you're going to have to wait a couple of years to see some massive differences. But I think you're going to see an even bigger awakening than what I've always been banging on about. Not saying that more and more people are going to be awakening, but you're going to hear more about it. And I think that's to do with the lifting of suppression, your free speech. I think that's probably my main two, I think.
So that's what you're going. So Joe's gone with large ship appearing, multiple Trump assassination attempts. Did you see that video the other day of the speaker in the White House? Did you see that video where he sort of slipped up and he said this is my last time, or it might not be my last time standing here talking in front of you. Did you hear that one?
No, I didn't. But I am hearing a lot that the Bidens were trying to do whatever they could to stop him getting into office, which...
There was a video clip of the Speaker of the House, I think it was, a gentleman, stood up there and he said, so this could be, this will be the last time I potentially see you, unless Mickey saw it. He sort of went along the lines of, I'd only come back here if there was a really bad event that happened. He sort of got himself in a right old pickle.
See, this is what I'm saying. That's just telling you straight away that something really bad is going to happen.
But we've only got 4 days for it to happen.
Not necessarily.
No, because he was a part of the Biden administration.
Yeah.
Because he won't be the Speaker of the House for President Trump.
Right.
So he was the Speaker of the House for President Biden, and he stood up there and he said, this will be the last time I potentially stand on this podium to speak to you all. He slipped up and he went, yeah, but I'd only ever come back here if it was a real bad emergency. And but you know what I'm talking about, don't you? And it was like saying, well, that's Biden still got power.
Mm.
So it was almost saying
something's going to happen to the Republican lot.
Yeah, and Biden would stay in office until it was all done again. Which was, if I see the video,
yeah. Please send me that. I'd love to see that one.
So I said video with actual aliens and humans walking side by side, and someone shares it live.
See, I'd love to see that, Heidi, but it's
there
not
is
so
a
much
video.
If it's a video, it can be manipulated. You could blame it on AI because that stuff is so fantastic now. And this is what I've always said, even with what we do, Russ, even if we caught the best paranormal footage, we put that out there, I guarantee you 95% of the people watching it will go, well, you've done that yourselves. You've edited it, you've done this, you've done that. I'd like to see that, Heidi, only with my own eyes.
But there is actual footage of that president, isn't it? President. During the Second World War, whoever the president was, president in the Second World War, Eisenhower, was it Eisenhower? I could be well out. President during.
I thought he was a general and then went on to president, didn't he? I can't remember now.
During COVID. Why has that come up on my shoes? That's what it did. World War II.
Oh God, how bad is that? How bad is my history there?
Roosevelt.
Of course it was. Yes.
Roosevelt. I do apologise. Roosevelt. There is a picture of a video of Roosevelt because he was the one that was supposed to have signed the treaty with the extraterrestrials to help out. He was the one that was to sign a treaty with the extraterrestrials to.
And didn't Churchill go?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that as well, wasn't he? Yeah.
And every week, without fail, that this president would go to a certain golf course, play golf, and he'd never ever change his golf course. But then he went to one near Roswell for the weekend. He played golf. No one saw him. They closed the golf course down, but no one saw him enter or leave the golf course. But there is that jaded footage of Roosevelt walking up, shaking hands with an extraterrestrial, signing the treaty, and then Winston Churchill was also asked to go and see these. They hated each other, I think, Roosevelt and Churchill, but at the end of the war, they were good friends. And he was seen going into the White House and taken to the Roswell area to also sign a treaty. So cold. That would be awesome. A live TV broadcasting, that sort of live.
Yeah, with you.
What's that? So I'm sure if Biden would still keep power, it would be a Republican vice president. Either way, either sort of way, I don't think it will happen personally. But for me, I think that sort of along the sides of Joe, I do think that this extraterrestrial will start to ramp up a little bit more. I'm a big Project Bluebeam believer. So yes, I actually do believe that we are going to see some form of craft of bigger proportions or along them sort of lines of things. So I can sort of see that happening as well. I can definitely see that happening to Joe. I can definitely see that happening. Night, Mickey.
Good night, mate.
There was a question there for you, Mickey, as well. So if he doesn't answer that, we'll get him to come back on it. There is going to see more Bible prophecies this year, major ones. So yeah, I can. For me, because of the Joe asked me a question, and that's why I wanted to sort of save it to the end of the show. Where was it? Or somewhere down here. I don't know where it's gone now. Going off subject, that's it. Going off subject a little bit. Did you say you saw UFOs during the height of the UAP? Yes. Outside one night was very, very heightened. Very, very heightened. I don't know what night it was, but it was one after the other, quite clearly seeing them outside as well. So that's where my theory goes, that this year is drones or not. I can't tend to. Some of the footage in America at the moment regarding the drones was quite clearly, to me, drones. Some of the footage wasn't, but I'd never seen any clear footage apart from the footage that was caught on the borders of Wales and Gloucestershire, with the F-15 that come over his house. That was quite, and when I asked for it, you could, I wanted to see something different. And you heard this F-15 shoot across this bloke's house, and it rattled the house. And you could see approaching the flickering lights in the distance, flickering lights, flicking away. And this, you could see the F-50 coming up to it, and it just went like that and flew off. And there was the plane could not keep up and get anywhere near what was that. And I thought, okay, I can take that.
That's not a drone.
But it's what fascinated me more, that this wasn't one video. This was taken in multiple different locations in England and on the borders from different angles, all witnessing these I think it's F-15s they were saying, flying across at low level to approach these things and then flying off all over military air bases of the US. All over it. All over the US. So for me, it is either some form of technology that they are testing out just to see the reflexes of what the British military would do in that situation. But yeah, the first week in January, I think it was, I'm sure it was, Joe. And I remember looking out the window and just seeing about 3 or 4. And it was more along the lines of, the CE5 project way of thinking. I was sitting here thinking about it. I was sitting here opening my mind to them. I was sitting here saying, just show yourself to me. Can you confirm you're here? Not to say I was doubting them. That's not what I was about.
No, you just went to see if you got a reaction.
Yeah, but there was things going on. There was like a lot of, all day that day, there was a lot of static within me. Everything I touched had like an electric shock.
Yeah.
And it's not like I changed my shoes or anything like that. And I just felt the energy in the sort of air, like the atmosphere changing or changed. And that's what just got me sort of there that night. It was a lovely, clear night. And I just said, I sat there and I thought, I just wished I had the hot tub on. Don't care how cold it was, because the hot tub would have been lovely and warm to sit there and just look up at the sky. It was crystal clear. It was the freezing cold nights. But I remember sitting out, just sitting in the cast iron chair around the corner in the dark bit, looking up. Just looking up. And it was about, what, -2 because of frost on the grass. And it was quite early, sort of around about 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And I had a jumper on, and I'm thinking, why ain't I as cold as what I think I am? Why am I not as cold as what it looks out here? And that's what I was doing. I was just sitting there, opening my eyes, opening my third eye, opening my aura to that's like the CE5 project way of thinking, where you sort of you lead them to you, you ask them to you. And it was only quick glimpses, but it was enough. I thought, okay, thank you. And it just got more and more. And once I sort of like, I did eventually get cold, I come indoors and I'd go up and get a drink or walk down the pathway, look up, and there they were again, just a little wick and off. And it weren't like, it was literally a little, you know, like a little pigtail. And then it went. And it wasn't, you can tell a drone, I'm sorry, you can tell a difference between a drone and something different, because most drones have some form of lighting technology. Like a plane, you know, you get the plane, don't you? Red, like that. So you sort of get, you notice like the difference. But and it was none of that. It was none of that. It was just a sort of a cool white. No, not a cool white. You know, that warm white. You know, the off. You know, like the lights. And it was just like it was pulsating. Warm, 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 like that. And I thought, well, that's a lovely. And it looked, you know, like the colour of Mars. You see Mars in the sky. It don't twinkle, does it, Mars? It just holds like an orangey colour. And it was like that. It was just going warm, warm, warm. And it just, I don't think it pigtailed, but it moved in a funny way. And it just went zoom and gone. That was it. About 3 or 4 times. The static thing happened to me. Yeah, it was just weird. It was just catching anything, Joe. Anything. I picked up pens off my desk and it's like, oh God, what is it? I could actually see the spark every time. Happened around 10 days ago in Suffolk at my cottage. It would have been around the same sort of time then, Joe. It must have been around that same sort of time. I think it was when you was unwell, Paul.
That was before Christmas.
Oh, would I have? Let's have a look.
I remember you telling me about it. I can't remember now if you phoned me or messaged me.
It was on the 3rd of January. It's buzzing up there tonight. So many UFOs about, so quick. That was on the 3rd of January. That was at 7:30.
Yeah.
So it was early. I knew it was early. Because I thought, this is weird. It's too, you know, not to say they've got any time constraints, do you know what I mean? But,
you know, time to call this.
yeah. You're far too early. You should only come after 9:30. You know what I mean? But no, it was around that sort of time, and it was really heightened. I haven't seen too many since. Can't say I've seen too much. I've had weird experiences, but nothing like I had that night. But it was definitely something to do with the energy in the air. The energy in the air. Unless it was around that fog, I don't know. Maybe the fog was heightening the energies, and I don't know. But it was definitely around there. And that's what I'm saying. For me to see it, I think they're going to see more of that sort of thing. I do think that we're going to have some form of confirmation. Good night, Heidi. We're over time, but never mind. And we'll get you on the show very, very soon. Okay. We'll probably try and aim for the first week in Feb. Yeah, try something like that. All right, and we'll get you on the show. All right, but I'll be in touch. Heidi. But yeah, it's just my thing. We're going to see something. I think Donald Trump, I don't see an assassination attempt on Donald Trump personally. I think it'd be too obvious just at the moment. I think it is what it is for me. I don't see it because I think they're in there. But it was the David Icke thing. We should end on that, shouldn't we, really? Did you see that one? Did you read it that Joe put on there? There's a humming outside. There's a helicopter outside. There's a helicopter. So it was. Oh, don't need the sound.
Our favourite stories of the future show the ascent of humanity.
Don't need the video. I just need the sayings. This world that Trump and Musk regime intends to advance so fast on the Chinese model, with Musk's billionaire's mate David Sachs running AI policy. This is what the mega hijack is really all about. And my goodness, how so many have fallen for it. Time to wake up fast.
Huh.
So that's what David click on the thing. Have you got Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe put it on there a couple of days ago. Watch the video, watch the and read the thing of it as well. And then go from there. Right. It's time for us to say goodbye. We're over time, but never mind. Thank you for everyone that has joined us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Many things, but next week we will talk about the devil. We need to talk about the devil thing. We definitely need to talk about that. All right, so we will touch on that next week. Oh yeah, night. Trump could be a double agent. Night, fellow ufologists.
Night, Joe.
Good night, everybody. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you for everybody that has listened over on Pulse Talk Radio. It's been a great pleasure. Take care, stay safe, and good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everyone that's joined us over on YouTube and Facebook tonight. Take care, and we will be back next week for another show. Take care, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.